Welcome to my channel Living Linux. In this video I want to show you how I compiled the open source game EndlessSky on an ARM SBC with the Rockchip RK3588S. So EndlessSky is a 2D space trading and combat game similar to the classic Escape Velocity series. And this might look very simple, but here you have some more screenshots, and I don't know how this will look when it's actually moving, but this looks more complex, and I'm not really sure if the Rockchip RK3588 is able to show this, let's just say, in 60 frames per second. And I guess you need to play this game for quite a while before you have built up a big ship and that you are engaged in these kind of big battles. So unfortunately I'm not able to show you that, but yeah, so one of my goals is to promote some open source games, and for me personally it's also interesting to see if I can make it work on ARM and perhaps also on RISC-V. Now, EndlessSky, it has build instructions, so you can get the source code with Git. And in my case, I jump to the instructions for Linux. So I'm on Ubuntu here, so you need to get those packages. So what you can do is sudo apt install and then all these packages. And what I also noticed is that it might be better to install catch2 also, because I got some error when I configured the project about catch2. So I didn't run the unit test, but again, it was for me easier to install it to get rid of an error message. So then it will look like this. So I already installed it, so there's no point in doing that again. So assuming you have the source and that it is in this directory, and you have installed all these packages, so it says that you need to configure the project, CMakePreset, and then a certain preset. So you can choose between Windows, macOS, and Linux. So for Linux, the preset is Linux. And if you have like a more embedded system that doesn't have full OpenGL support, then you can also compile it with GLES. Now, what you can see here is that for macOS, it makes the distinction between x64 and ARM64, but there's no distinction between x64 and ARM64 for Linux. So yeah, I did a bit of a dirty trick here. So there is the cmake list file, and what you can see here is that there are some entries for, let's just say, the architecture. And now where's that? Interesting. Or was it this one? Ah, yeah, it is the, sorry, CMakePresets.json file. So let's see. Ah, this one. So I already changed it here. So this was x64. So you can replace it with arch64, AA. Yeah, you might want to do a search and replace for all of them. I'm not really sure if you have to do it everywhere, but I did it anyway. Well, not really everywhere, but so is another one that I changed. And also for GLES, even though I compiled it for Linux, not for Linux GLES. And here you can see, for instance, for macOS, I didn't change it because I'm not compiling it for Mac, so it wasn't that much point in changing it. And I think once you get here, then yeah, this one is for Windows, so there's no point in changing that. So I stopped changing after that part. So once you have made those changes in the CMakePresets.json file, yeah, then you can do CMakePresets Linux. So like this. And after that, you can do it like this. And if you don't need the debugging, then you can just compile for release, because that's faster. And you can see now, where's that thing again? Sorry. Here it is. So that will look like this. So replace the debug with release, and then the preset, oops, is Linux. So it will look like this. So once it has been compiled, then you can find it in build, Linux, release, EndlessSky. So I already created a player or a pilot. and I did the first mission. This is my second mission. So just to show you what it's like. So with the arrow keys, you can just fly around. Yeah. So if I click the M, then you can do a jump or a hyper jump, but only to the systems that are connected, that have a known pathway. So I need to go here, but there's no connection yet, so we just go here, one jump, and then we press the J. So in the top you can see that the GPU usage is quite high. I'm not really sure if it's a good indication of what is going on. And like I said, yeah, unfortunately I haven't progressed far enough in the game to see more complex scenes. But also perhaps in the future that we get better OpenGL support. Perhaps we can get it to work with a future Vulkan driver, and that things will improve. Oops. I think someone is attacking me. That's not really nice. Now is it? Well, anyway, if you like this kind of game, then I think for x86 it's perhaps also possible just to download it. Perhaps it's available in some repository. That's a lot easier, but for instance for ARM, at least Linux ARM, yeah, I had to do some tricks to get it compiled. And yeah, to me it's a little bit strange that they do make the distinction for macOS, but I think ARM for Linux has been available for many years before that, so yeah, I'm not really sure why that preset is not available. But anyway, you can change it manually and then you can get it compiled. So if you have any other open source game that you want to see on an ARM system, I can't make any promises because perhaps some things are too complicated. I already had a look at Zero AD, and I have seen that people were running it on a Raspberry Pi 5, but so far when I tried to compile it on the Rockchip RK3588 single board computer, I ran into some errors and haven't been able to figure out how to get around that. But yeah, since it is possible on a Raspberry Pi 5, Zero AD should be possible too. But again, yeah, please leave some suggestions in the comments. And yeah, I can't make any promises, but I can try to have a look at those. So that's all for now, and I hope to see you again in my next video.